Okay, come on in, y'all. Come on in. We are live. We are live. We are live here on Instagram. We are also live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. Come on in. Come on in. Let me know what city, what state, what country you are checking in from on YouTube. Type in what city, what state, what country you are checking in from on Instagram. Type in what city, what state, what country you are checking in from. My apologies to everyone for the delay. I will not be able to go live on Rumble. So please let everyone know that we will not be live on Rumble tonight. We will not be live on Rumble tonight. We are live on Instagram and YouTube. Please let us know what city, what state, what country you are checking in from. This is going to be very interesting, to say the least. Very interesting, to say the least. Come on in, come on in. Let everyone know that I'm not able to go live on Rumble tonight. There are some additional adjustments that I have to make as it pertains to the technology on the inside of that I have to adjust in order to go live. So I will not be able to do that tonight, but we are here. So let everyone know, spread the word. We are live on YouTube and we are live on Instagram. Nearly 1,000 people on Instagram already. YouTube is catching up because this is my first time going live on, my second time going live on this YouTube since I've had it. So I know y'all are really like, this can't be Rizza's real live. Yes, it is. Again, let me know what city, what state, what country you are checking in from. We are about to go into a few things here. Things that most people are not interested in having intellectual discourse, dialogue, or conversations about on YouTube. It just sounds so cliche, so corny, but hit the like button. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Y'all know what to do. Y'all know what to do. I'm more interested in the in-person everything. Y'all know what to do. But please subscribe, hit the like button, share this out. So let us go ahead and kind of set the stage here really quick. What are we talking about? Within the first 2 minutes here, what are we talking about on Instagram? Please share this live out to at least 5 people. On YouTube, please share this live out to others as well to let them know. What are we talking about? Okay, the first thing is a number of things have happened, and this is why distractions are exceedingly powerful when it comes to controlling the minds of the people. Very, very powerful. For those who are asking about my podcast, that is on Rumble. So you have to go to rumble.com and search up Rizza Islam. My channel is on there. That is where I have the uncensored content, my uncensored podcast episodes. The first episode is up there. The next episode will be up there shortly. And everything that is uncensored will be on Rumble because we know my relationship with YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, etc. We all know my relationship. So please make sure you follow me on Rumble to get the uncensored things. Also, for those who are interested in being a part of our private, exclusive, members only community, go to joinfreethinkers.com. Joinfreethinkers.com. There's an exchange that you have to give in order to get into that. But once you get into that, one, you will get access to my podcast episodes at least 2 days before everybody else. That's number one. You also get the book. You also get the ebook. You also get the audio book. You also get tickets to in-person events. You also get other classes that were done. You get a lot of connections that we're establishing and networking things that we're doing when it comes to building our community and helping the people in real life specifically. So join freethinkers.com to become a member of our private members only group, which we're finally able to set up because they can't take us down from there. Join freethinkers.com. Please make sure you become a member in that. Now, I'm going to delve into some things here. We're going to go right into it because I know a lot of people were asking when they saw this. Number one, I need everyone to tell me. Everyone, please tell me, whether if you are on Instagram or if you are on YouTube, did you see the interview? I'm going to start on the lower level. Lower level meaning the thing that is not as heavy. the thing that is not as heavy. Did you see LeBron James make his statement regarding Kyrie Irving, Jerry Jones, etc.? That's a very small, minute thing. We're not necessarily going to be too caught up on that. Okay, on YouTube, many of you are saying yes. Instagram, many of you are saying yes, you did. Okay, the LeBron James statement about Jerry Jones and hypocrisy about Kyrie Irving, how he didn't really say anything, but Jerry Jones, clearly racist, was trying to prevent black folks from getting into a specific establishment. It was over 40 years ago, but hey, still, he did it. Boom. Okay, I personally feel that our brother LeBron, he definitely should have stood next to Kyrie from the beginning and should have refused to make any comments about it. But then again, we don't know who his handlers are because they do have people handling them. We don't know his circumstance. I'm not too interested when it comes to everything that goes on up there because they know that we know what they are doing to them, meaning the handlers, meaning the people that are controlling their finances, their livelihood, etc. They know that those of us who know. So I'm not going to call LeBron James a sellout for being a basketball player. They sign contracts. That's what they do. He was told to shut up and dribble, if you remember, I believe by Miss Ingram over at Fox. They made fun of him for not being politically intelligent. They made fun of him, calling him all kinds of names because he's a basketball player. You see what I'm saying? So they don't respect them. They don't respect them. And that is the sad part. But I'm glad he did come out and finally say something. Beautiful. At least he said something. Great. He's not a bad brother. It's not a bad brother. It's just some of us are a little too emotional. We get caught up in the emotion. Well, he should have stood with Kyrie. No, I'll say it this way. Everybody's not built like that. And when your money is tied up in this system and with this system and around it and all inside of this system, you cannot say what somebody else should have done because you have not been in their shoes before. A lot of us talk very quick, but we are not in their shoes. Does it make it right? No, absolutely not. But that's why I'm not an NBA player. That's why I'm not signed to anybody in that type of arena, meaning Hollywood, anyone who can control what I say or do. And those of us who are not controlled by them can speak freely, while at the same time, many of them cannot. So understand their circumstance, understand their condition before you come at them emotional and hold them to the same standard that you would hold them to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan, Medgar Evers, Sir Jonah Truth, Ida B. Wells, any of our people. Please don't hold them to the same standard because they are not in those positions. We are. So we can say what needs to be said. Now, I just want to end that really quick when it comes to the LeBron thing. I just want to go through that real fast, spend about a minute and a half, 2 minutes on that. It's not too, it's not really a big deal to me. The point is a lot of people are backtracking because they witnessed the amount of support that Kyrie Irving received overwhelmingly from the people to where a lot of them started to backtrack. Stephen A. Smith backtracked. That's when I knew he was feeling it. A lot of them backtracked because they realized, wait a minute, Black folks have stood up in a way now that we have not seen as it pertains to certain artists and celebrities in recent years in a long time. So it scared a lot of them and they backed off because one, they attacked a brother for no reason. And two, they attacked a brother who genuinely really has love for the whole human family, starting with his own people, then of course with his native bloodline and our culture as Black folk. And then of course he shows love and respect to everybody else. So they attack somebody for no reason. And everybody started going into that. And people are saying, talk about Kanye. Wait, if you don't mind. Because when I start talking about that, some of you are really it's much heavier than you know, which is why I want to bring a reference to your attention. Do any of you have this book? Type Operation Paperclip in the chat. I'm going to end this Kyrie point right now. This is something that everybody should have, especially at this time. I will raise you another set of references, fully stacked with footnotes, and that is Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Book 1. I get mine from noi.org or store.finalcall or finalcall.store, but noi.org for sure. Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Book 1. Do not stop there. Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Part 2. This one goes over our enslavement and the Jewish involvement in our enslavement and others, of course, Spaniards and others. Some of our, this doesn't go entirely in that, but a lot of our, some of our African family on the other side, who some of them helped to sell us into slavery. It was not as bad as when we got in it, but let's just make that clear. This goes over the history of that. It also goes over the history of how Jewish groups and large numbers of Jewish people were systemically kicked out of multiple European countries, from Maine all the way to Italy, Spain, you name it, over and over. They have been getting kicked out since, I think, 1100. You name it from there. That's part 2. Part 1. Part 2 goes over their involvement in the plantation circumstance as it pertains to how a lot of them were the auctioneers of Black people, how a lot of Jewish families owned us as slaves, how a lot of Jewish families put us on loan to other white people, how a lot of them quite literally owned the chains and the shackles and slave ships, and how the money that was generated from our enslavement that they were heavily involved in created some of the banks that many of us may have accounts with, not only JP Morgan, not only Wells Fargo and Bank of America, but even all the way down to the cotton circumstance, to the tobacco circumstance, to some of the alcohol companies that you may know of or may drink from. A lot of these different things, to Wall Street and the banking system, how the Jewish families, a lot of them were involved in a lot of this, but on the backs of our people as slaves that they were owning. That is book 2. Last but not least, book number 3, which is exceedingly critical to the foundation of the ADL, or Anti-Defamation League. This book, full of the actual documents of the case of Leo Frank. Leo Frank. If you do not know about the case of Leo Frank, book 3, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, full of documents, which goes over the case of Leo Frank, a white man who was Jewish, who they tried to say was being targeted because a Caucasian Christian girl died in his factory, I believe a pencil making factory, and they arrested him and a Black man as well. And he tried to say, well, it was the Black guy that did it. And the Black guy, who I believe was the janitor, said, actually, no, I witnessed him. Mr. Frank was the culprit. And they put him on trial very quickly. Then when he went to jail and was found guilty, the white folks went into the jail, took Leo Frank out of the jail, paraded him, brought him all the way down to the city where the young Caucasian white girl was from, and then they systemically lynched and hung Mr. Frank. This is just history. And what they did, they, meaning the Jewish community, tried to flip, and I'm saying specifically tried to flip that circumstance into a anti-Semitic hate crime, meaning the man who was found guilty of raping a white girl and killing this white girl, Leo Frank. They tried to say, well, he's Jewish and this is anti-Semitic. No, white man who was found guilty of raping a girl, and he was found justice, is it not? That's called American justice, right? That's called the justice system doing what it's supposed to do. That's called, here's the proof, the evidence, here's the crime, do the time, or here's the punishment for the crime, right? If he were a Black man, there would be no court proceeding. They would have just lynched him. So let's knock it off. But this book goes over the foundation of what is now known as the Anti-Defamation League, which for some reason happens to defame a lot of people. The Anti-Defamation League is created to supposedly call out and fight against hatred, primarily against Jewish people and the Jewish community, and then hatred abroad and hatred in general. It does not fight against hatred in general. That is a cover. The reality is, it is an organization established to protect the interests of rich people who refer to themselves as Jews, who do evil and wicked things that the rest of the members of the Jewish community are not directly involved in. Same way how in the Black community, we have some rich bourgeoisie who sell us out to this system, while they benefit financially from selling out the rest of us in their community. Same thing how in the Chinese culture, there are some of their people that are in the rich, well-established positions that do things that goes against the better interests of the rest of their people, and that they may do things that systemically harm the rest of their people. For example, the over 1 million Muslims currently in internment camps right now in China. The over 1 million Muslims in China currently in camps right now. Also, the camps that are set up for those who refused to not only take the shot, but also those whom they are saying test positive for the virus. They have camps set up for people right now, and they are bringing them off to these camps currently in China. So again, you have that when it comes to the Chinese community. You have the same thing in the Mexican community. You have the same thing in the islands of the Caribbean. You have this in virtually every single group of people where the rich and the elite of that people do things that either directly or indirectly negatively affect the rest of their people that are not in the same tax bracket, that don't make the same amount of money, who don't have the same amount of influence, who don't have the same connections, etc., etc., etc. So again, we can be very specific and differentiate this, because we don't need to generalize it, because that's not the facts. Same thing in the Muslim community. You have a lot of very rich Muslims in Saudi Arabia and other countries and other nations who do things that go completely against what the rest of the younger Muslims and the rest of Islam as a whole believes, period, in their cultures. But they do things at the top. So a set of 3, book 1, book 2, and highlights, documents, refers to, and on from Jewish writers, Jewish scholars, rabbis, historians. It's from them. This is not stuff that was made up by the Nation of Islam. No, this was compiled by the research team of the Nation of Islam, but it is very well cited. When I say hundreds of thousands of footnotes at the bottom that gives you the original Jewish historical textbooks that you can go and reference, especially the Encyclopedia Judaica, where it goes over the encyclopedia of Jewish relations, history, etc., and a large number of other books to read. But number 3 is critical because it is the foundation of the ADL, which has Rizza Islam on there as a hater, right? Call me a hater. They call Martin Luther King a hater. Malcolm X, they refer to him as anti-Semitic as well, that he's a hater. Minister Farrakhan, anti-Semitic is a hater. Michael Jackson, anti-Semitic and is a hater. That they had one time said Oprah Winfrey, anti-Semitic and is a hater. Of course, they put Ye on there, Kanye in there. Okay, he's an anti-Semitic and he's a hater, they say. They put Alex Jones in there, he's a hater. And okay, they put, what are the Black folks? Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture, they put him on there, said he's a hater. They even put, not on the website, but in the culture. But in the culture of the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud, under that type of law and under that teaching, they put Jesus on there and called Jesus anti-Semitic and a hater. Just to give you a few names. So virtually all of the strong Black leaders that we have ever had, they refer to as haters. and they put them on the list, the ADL. No, the ADL is a systemically, historically, and presently racist, anti-Black organization. That is the fact. That is the fact. That is a fact. Anyone who disagrees with them, they call them haters. They call them anti-Semitic. They say whatever, blah, blah, blah. They're white and you're racist. And that's the fact that you have to get over. You're white and you're racist. So when you're calling Black people and our leaders bad and evil, wrong, and you're destroying their livelihood, destroying their careers, they put Kyrie Irving on that list. Kyrie Irving, they said he's a hater. How? So even Minister Farrakhan, how? That's how you know this is a scam. It is a fraud, which is why all three of these books you must have. NOI.org or finalcall.store or store.finalcall. You have to have all three, not just number two. Number two is very critical. You'll learn a lot. But if you're like me and you really seek knowledge all the way to its root, you need to have all three, 1, 2, and 3. For those of you who are looking at this hoodie and you're like, yo, the hoodie is fire. Thank you. This is a statement that proves that we were right the whole time when they were pushing the poison on everyone. And they knew that what they were doing was wrong. They have admitted this. This is why Anthony Fauci currently, or should I say last week, was in court. I'm going to get to Ye and Alex Jones right now. They were in court going over how they colluded and collaborated and conspired with social media companies and the United States government to systemically silence anyone exposing the truth about the poison shots, about the scientific data that they were trying to withhold, about the origins of the virus, about the lack of studies about these poison shots, about the fact that they did not give anyone the long-term data, the long-term negative effects, and they did not tell anybody, but they forced everyone. They locked down the country. They made it mandatory. They took away people's children, took away the jobs, stopped you from being able to travel, etc., 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 etc. So they know that at this point, finally, documents have come out. Scientific data is coming out. It is being revealed in the Pfizer documents and others. They knew what they were doing was wrong. Shots never showed any data of proving that they were effective in preventing transmission, preventing people from getting sick, lessening hospitalization. None of it. But what it does show is a higher likelihood of getting sick, increases in heart issues, increases in brain problems, increases in everything, including death. All right. That's what it proves. So what is the actual fact? There are over 200 studies proving that natural immunity is superior to the stab-induced immunity. I'm going to say it again. Over 200 studies proving that natural immunity is superior. You shouldn't need studies. Your very existence proves this. Our very existence proves this. Over 200 studies prove is superior to that of the stab-induced immunity. Where do you find these? RizzaIslam.com. Multiple colors and shirts as well. Natural immunity wins. Everyone should go to that. RizzaIslam.com. Get your hoodies and your shirts. RizzaIslam.com. Natural immunity wins. Let your shirt do the speaking, do the talking for you. And as I move on to the next point, I watched as much as I could because of the time frame. The interview of Ye, Alex Jones, and I believe Nick Fuentes was on there. Let me say this to y'all. If you just emotionalism is a problem that gets many people in trouble. If you cannot sit through and listen to what a person is saying, even if, in my situation, I have sat and conversed with not only atheists, I have sat and conversed with white supremacists before, had a dialogue. If you do not have the intellectual capacity, the strength to sit down and converse with somebody on a completely total opposing side without getting so emotional and pissed off so quick, you won't get too far. Not in this arena when it comes to the level of intelligentsia, when it comes to dialoguing and having conversations or debates You won't be able to handle it. So I will say respectfully, just bow out gracefully and let those who are able and equipped and capable to use their intellect over emotion to get involved in this. Because when I saw just a few clips of this interview with Alex Jones, Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, and all that, where they were talking about a lot of things. Lord have mercy, there was so much they talked about. I said, man, okay. First off, anything that our brother Ye says that is incorrect, okay. Simple as that. Anything that he says that is incorrect, okay. Simple as that. Incorrect. All right, throw that out. That's not true. Let's keep listening. What else you got? This is how I operate. We settle on the best part. Okay, so let's listen. Let me listen real quick. All right. So that's not correct. That's not correct. That's not correct. He said a few different things and I was like, okay, cool. And I take the truth and I leave the lie. Here's another thing that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to bash our people publicly. However, we can correct them publicly. I love Ye, love Kanye. That's our brother. He has a lot of things that he has dealt with mentally, spiritually. He's going through a lot. Does it excuse the lies? Nope, not at all. Period. He just needs to have the right people around him. That's all I believe. Get the right people around him who truly love and care about him so that he can do better for himself and for others. Because he is a brilliant brother. He's a good brother. He's not a bad man. We should all know this. The brother's not a bad brother. But he's been through a hell of a lot. And he has a lot of problems that he's trying to get through. And the situation that he's dealing with right now is a mixture of things. Why? Because this is, for example, I just mentioned one part of this. When you see people who have been on psychotropics, and for those of you in the chat room, you are going to understand what I'm saying. Somebody said you're coding this. No, listen. Just listen. People who work with those who are on psychotropics, they know better than anybody what this means. You have no idea what the heck is going on with that brother. I'm not justifying none of the incorrect things that he has said. That's the fact. If he says something incorrect, okay, no, bro, that's incorrect. No. See, we stopped that, right? No, sir, that's not correct. We love you, but that ain't correct. So we do bashing of our own people publicly, and that's the problem. We're so damn foolish. Then when we get murdered by police, we want to complain. Then when something else happens where white folks attack us, we want to complain. No, how about we stop bashing our own and stop attacking our own first? That's the first thing. Two, your damn emotions are an issue. That's why this enemy knows how easy we are to be taken control of because we're so emotional. Too damn emotional. Relax. Take control of yourself first. But let me finish this point. Kanye was on lithium. Anybody in this chat room, if you don't know what lithium does to you, we went over the list of over 60 different effects that lithium brings upon a human being. Not only does it bring bulging of eyes, confusion, memory loss, and memory damage, weight gain. It kills your ability to not only have an erection, but maintain erection, rapid muscle gain, rapid muscle loss, muscle loss, not muscle gain. It does muscle twitches. It does so much to you that you can't even logically think that a person is going to be entirely there mentally while being on these drugs that chemically destroy them. Anybody in this chat room who knows anybody on psychotropic drugs, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that, oh, he needs to be on these drugs. No, I'm saying the drugs are doing the very thing to the brother that they are saying is trying to prevent. Let me say that one more time. The drugs are doing the very thing to the brother that they are saying is trying to prevent. Thorazine, Adderall, Zyprexa, Wellbutrin, lithium, Rexulti, brexpiprazole, you name it. Seroquel, Cat Williams was on that. Propofol, Michael Jackson was on that. Look what it did. Look what it did. If you don't know, then don't even comment. Don't say anything about, oh, Rizza, you're trying to exaggerate. You're trying to make excuses. No, listen to what I'm saying to you. If you don't know, you don't know. You don't know. People taking these drugs and they start hearing thoughts in their head telling them, maybe I should kill myself. Maybe the world will be better if I'm not here. Those are the standard effects of these drugs. So if I can introduce a drug into your brain, you take this drug and it makes you think of taking your own life. Please explain this to me. How is that helpful? And let me add another piece to this so that we can know that I'm not going into the area of coddling anybody. I'm explaining before I go into the interview about what they talked about with the Jewish community type circumstance, with the pedophilia type circumstance that he was bringing up, with all of this that he was bringing up, because you have to understand fully, only people who cannot think want to rush to a statement. Just hurry up and get to it. No, you need to think. Get some mental stamina, because some stuff takes a little more describing before you can just jump to it. No, you have to understand the layers of this. Why am I saying this? The person who is Kanye West's physical trainer, or I would say was, I hope, at this point, is a man by the name of Harley Pasternak. Can everyone please type in the name Harley Pasternak? Type in Harley Pasternak. This man here. Harley Pasternak. Harley Pasternak. This Caucasian devil here. Why am I saying the word devil? Because he did something in his text message that he sent to Kanye. It's not only wicked. Woo! He said exactly what it is that they do. Harley Pasternak told Kanye, check this out. We're going to have a conversation right now. There's two ways we're going to do this. Either we're going to have a nice, polite conversation with no cursing, and I don't want to hear anything about anything that your dumb friend told you about Twitter, or I have you committed again. Anybody in either chat on YouTube or on Instagram, please tell me if you know someone who was either in a psych ward, or if you yourself, you don't have to say if you've been in a psych ward. Do you know what it feels like? Do you know anyone who knows what it feels like? Do you have any idea what goes down when a person is committed to a psychiatric facility? Some of you, because you may not have the proper knowledge about this, you may think, oh, that's just where crazy people go, not realizing anything about Bedlam or Bethlehem Royal, not knowing anything about Wilhelm Wundt, not knowing anything about Samuel Cartwright, the psychiatrist who said Negroes who want to run away from slavery have a mental illness called drapetomania. And these Negroes are crazy because they want to run away from slavery. Type in the name Samuel Cartwright, a psychiatrist, one of the founders in the area of mental health. Samuel Cartwright. If you don't know anything about them, if you don't know about B.F. Skinner, if you don't know anything about the so-called father of American psychiatry, the one who said that Black people have a disease which causes their skin to be dark, causes their skin to be black, called nigritude. Damn, y'all better know these things before commenting on anything right now. Benjamin Rush, the so-called father of American psychiatry, who said that Black people have a disease called nigritude, causing their skin to be black. And the way to cure it is to whip them or to peel the skin so that the white meat could show, so that the white part of the skin can come to the top. That's how you cure them. This is Benjamin Rush. This is the father of American psychiatry, whose face was on the seal of the American Psychiatric Association for many years, until they replaced it with, I believe, the picture of a brain, because people found out how disgustingly racist he was. This is basics in psychology. These are basics in psychiatry. So you need to know these things. Benjamin Rush. You need to know these things. We have to know these things before we start just pointing at people and saying, oh, they crazy, oh, they crazy. No. The psychiatric facilities, and we're talking about Kanye West, Alex Jones. We're talking about this interview. We're talking about the whole thing with the Jewish stuff that he talks about. We're talking about all of this stuff because it's all connected. You have to know about eugenics. People who need this book, Operation Paperclip, by Annie Jacobson, where she met with and went over the lives of at least 12 former Nazis who have been brought to America because Operation Paperclip was the formerly classified United States government program that brought over here over 1,500 Nazi German scientists after World War II. And once this happened, because there are layers to this thing here, not theories, only facts. You must know about the system of eugenics. We must know about the fact that Adolf Hitler, as it pertains to the poison shots, was inspired partially by America, and particularly California, and what California was doing to Black and brown women, specifically in the prisons. When it comes to eugenics, Adolf Hitler gave the credit, as it pertains partially to the poison shots, to California for what they were doing to Black women and brown women, to the tune of over 20,000 of them, with the state-sponsored sterilization programs that were taking place in over 32 states in America under the American Eugenics Society. You must know about Charles Davenport. Then prior to that, you must know about Sir Francis Galton, where the eugenics movement started with him over in Europe, but of course, Charles Davenport here in America, and then the entire situation of the ethnic cleansing of anybody who was Black, brown, anyone who's not blue-eyed, blonde-haired, etc., etc. All of this, because I know some of y'all like, man, just get to ye. Oh, I'm going to get to him, but don't ever come into any one of my lives, any one of my anythings. And people who have been to my events in person, I don't give you this information so that you can just rush to conclusions. No, you have to. We got to learn. Most people don't read books. We don't be reading. So if you really want to know, you got to know it all. And I can't go through all of it right now, but at least as much of it that connects right now that we can get in this period of time. So what's happening with Kanye is the brother is dealing with a lot. And what you're witnessing is him popping in and out, because what he says that is true is true. And what he says that's not true isn't true. It's just that simple. But while he's going through all this, he's dropping so many facts that it's upsetting this whole matrix system of political correctness. He's crossing too many damn lanes, barriers, boundaries. He's doing too much and shaking up too much of this plantation, and they don't like it. They're like, we need to shut him up now. We have to cut off his water, aka his money. Cut off his connections. Call him crazy. Standard Joseph Goebbels propaganda character assassination techniques. I'm going to say this one more time. Classic Joseph Goebbels standard character assassination technique. Type in the name Joseph Goebbels. Who was Joseph Goebbels? He was the senior over the propaganda for Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and the Third Reich. Yes, Joseph Goebbels, who said he came up with something called the big lie. He said, if you tell a lie big enough, long enough, people will soon come to believe it. Joseph Goebbels, who's over propaganda. Interestingly enough, in America, this is where we're going into Operation Paperclip. So we're going into Operation Paperclip. If you don't have this book, it's roughly 592 pages. And it is heavy. And it is heavy, gripping and skillfully rendered, the most in-depth account yet of the lives of paperclip recruits and their American counterparts. America is not against Nazis. America's in bed with them and has been in bed with them for a very long time. When you're looking at the circumstance right now, over 1,500 Nazi scientists were brought into America. Their names were changed. America recruited them. Russia wanted to recruit some. Other nations were looking at recruiting them. Why? Because their technology was highly advanced. Their biochemical warfare was highly advanced. They were trying to figure out, wow, what they used with these chemicals did things to human beings in a way where we could not even fathom. Wow, their military might was superior and just strong. And wow, these weapons are amazing. They had guns that would shoot so many bullets per second. Wow. Back in the 1930s, they're talking about this. America didn't have nothing that could compete with that. Russia didn't have things that could compete with the military might in certain aspects of the Third Reich, the Nazis in particular. They didn't have it. So after World War II, if you had something called the Nuremberg trials, everyone please type in Nuremberg trials. And I have to put this all in because it all ties in to Kanye, what he's talking about, who's controlling things in certain aspects, him being on Alex Jones. And I'm going to talk about that because I myself was a guest on Alex Jones. I've been on Alex Jones myself. You can find that interview at RizzaIslam.com. RizzaIslam.com. You can find that interview on RizzaIslam.com. The Nuremberg trials. If you don't know about the Nuremberg trials, there are too many things we got to know before we start talking. This is my point. The reason why people would jump and say, oh, Kanye just a sellout. Oh, man, he just this. Oh, he just that. Oh, Kanye's a Nazi. That is by far one of the most overly pregnant, ignorant statements I've ever heard in my entire damn life. Don't go into that nonsense. Please don't be a sheep and go into that group way of thinking. He ain't never killed no damn body. The brother ain't never called for people to get killed and murdered and knock it off. He's not white. He may have done some things that white folks do for the most part. We're like, bro, that ain't, you can knock that off, but kill that noise. After the Nuremberg trials, someone brought up William Cooper. Oh, please. Best believe. Oh, y'all thought Rizza only knew about shots. Oh, I think the problem is you may have been listening to the wrong people about Brother Rizza Islam. The whole shots circumstance I've been exposing for roughly a decade. But in between time and prior to that time, your brother's been exposing multiple topics, especially the abuses in the field of mental health and a whole lot of other things. Oh, we know far more than you think we know, but things have priority. This is a book by William Cooper that everybody should have. It's called Behold a Pale Horse. William Cooper, a white man, exposed so much about this government that he ended up passing away under mysterious circumstances. We already know because he called it himself and he said exactly the fact that they were going to take him out for the things that he was saying. Same thing I believe happened with Jim Mars. If you don't know who Jim Mars is, these are people I've been studying since I was 12. I knew about Operation Paperclip when I was a preteen. Just so y'all know, in Compton, learning about what all of these secret occult groups are and all of what the government has been doing since I was 12. I was watching more documentaries than movies. But anyway, the point is now, back to this point. After the Nuremberg trials, where the Nazis were put on trial in front of the world because of what they did by attacking humanity and killing people wholesale in Nazi Germany, talking about the Jewish people that were systemically killed in Nazi Germany. And I'm not going to get into whatever other people think about it. This is just what the history says. Okay, so that happened that way. They don't tell you about the black folks that were murdered over in those Nazi death camps too. Don't get it twisted. There were over 20,000 of us, far more than that, but at least 20,000 black folks that were eradicated there as well. Don't get it twisted. You had rich Jewish people who were in hotels while this, or not hotel, who are in their rich areas and buildings while their poor family members were being targeted and pushed into these Nazi death camps, into Auschwitz, where the trains were running right on time to bring these people in to take their lives. Horrible. Horrible. And we already went over this earlier, how there are some black people who have done this to their own people, to our own people, sold us out with the recent circumstances we've seen with the virus and the poison shots, a lot of our people sold us out. And I'm only giving certain ones a pass because they genuinely were ignorant. But at the same time, if you attacked us for pushing the right to choose, you have to be held accountable. But that whole circumstance in Nazi Germany, Black people were victims as well. So the Nuremberg trials happened. The world came up to stop Adolf Hitler, blah, 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 to put a stop to him and shut down the Nazi regime and the Third Reich and doom. Okay. After these trials conclude, during the United States is looking at the capability, the highly advanced technological weaponry of the Nazis. And they're trying to figure this out. How can we get them weapons over here? This is America saying this, right? This is the United States government who was trying to stop after what happened to all these people. We're going to put a stop to it. And other nations were going to put a stop to it. America then, after the Nuremberg trial, stepped in and said, you know what? We need to go ahead and get some of those weapons. We need to get some. We have to get those weapons. We have to get those chemicals. We have to get that nerve gas. And, you know, what was that called? The bubonic plague. We have to figure out what caused that. And what do they do with this? And these other chemicals, to where their soldiers didn't have to eat for days and had high levels of energy. What did they give them? We need that too. See, this is, no one understand. America don't have much of an ethical meter, a yardstick of measurement. America don't care much for ethics and morality. The U.S. government, they never did. So let's make this clear. Seriously. So when they started looking, they said, we need to recruit them. What did they do? They started to bring them over. The top Nazi German scientists, the top chemists, the top weapons manufacturers and architects, the top minds that were behind what Adolf Hitler was doing. They brought them over here, changed their names. Now, yo, you want to talk about, what is that called? A witness relocation program? This was much bigger than a witness relocation program. This was a murderer relocation program, collaborator relocation program. What is it called if you are a tool and an accessory to a crime? An accessory relocation program. They brought them over here. They put them in the Department of Defense. They put them in the Department of Agriculture when it came to the chemistry and food. They put them in the Department of Education to look at the schooling system and manipulate it because they enjoyed and appreciated the fact that they obeyed without question. And they wanted that to go inside of it. Then, of course, you need to know about Mr. John D. Rockefeller and the General Education Board, and how the Rockefellers took over the educational system to create workers and not thinkers. Please put these things together when you're looking at this. They put these Nazi scientists into the space program in the science and technology area, an area that you know as NASA. Apollo 11, the rocket, Apollo 11. It was a Nazi German scientist who helped to partially advance and put components on that rocket to make it successful. Nazi scientist, NASA. Some of you know about General Motors, but don't realize that General Motors has very major ties to the Nazis. GM in Detroit, GM. Bayer Pharmaceuticals. Why am I saying all this? So that we can first off look at the fact of, does America hate and despise, dislike Nazis? No, they do not. And when I say they, I'm saying they, the ones who helped to bring them here and the ones who helped to give them cover stories, cover names, cover history, who gave them money, sponsored their living quarters and living residences, who covered up any trace of them being a part of the Third Reich and Nazi Germany and all of that, who helped to support them to be here to advance America's weaponry, America's chemical warfare, and the chemical capabilities for chemical warfare, who helped to sponsor and make it to where America would become one of the top world powers next to China and Israel and Russia. They coddled them, how some of y'all like to say we have done when because I don't want to attack my brother. I'm not going to attack any of my people publicly unless they support this system in a way where they're attacking all of our people to the benefit of this system. If it's not that, I'm not going to do it. But America did all this. So what's the point? The point is, no, America doesn't dislike Nazis. America has Nazis in her bloodline. America has Nazis all up in her family ties. Nazis all up in the schooling system. Nazis all up in the educational system. Schooling and education, two different parts. Banking system. Nazis in the area of technology and science. Nazis all up in the medical field. Bayer Pharmaceuticals, when I was bringing them up, one of the top pharmaceutical companies, is now what we used to refer to as Monsanto. Again, I'm talking about Kanye. I'm talking about Kanye or Ye, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, that interview that they had. And we're also going to bring up a few other points here. But we have to know these things before we can even logically respond or have a conversation on any other level about this topic. Because if we don't know this, then we just get emotional and we speak from our knowledge base, which may be this small. And then those that know are looking at you like you really are ignorant as hell. We're ignorant as hell because we're responding emotionally and not intellectually. Bayer Pharmaceuticals is what is now what we used to refer to as Monsanto. Can everybody put in Monsanto in the chat? Please type in Monsanto in the chat. The good old king of genetically modified organisms, the king of genetically modified organisms, Monsanto, which was purchased by Bayer Pharmaceuticals. Monsanto purchased by Bayer Pharmaceuticals. Why the heck is that even relevant? Because Bayer is one of the companies that created certain chemicals with the Nazis. You know what? Let me just mention something to y'all. Let me mention something to y'all. Okay? Let me mention something to y'all. Please look up. Boy, boy, the chemicals that were used. Some of the chemicals that were used during the Holocaust. Bayer was involved in that. Many of you like Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm going to just say this because some people are like, oh, I can't stand Nazis. You might be one, or at least a Nazi supporter without realizing it. You eat Krispy Kremes? That was partially, family-wise, was founded by Nazis, partially Krispy Kremes. You like Mercedes-Benz? What damn vehicles do you think Adolf Hitler was riding in? Benz. You may be supporting without knowing. Seriously. This is the reason why I do not, first of all, I don't debate with our people publicly unless they stand and publicly defend this system and represent this system. Then I would dialogue or have a debate with you, those kind of people, right? Which is rare. But man, there's so much that we have to know. Okay. Krispy Kreme donuts, partly founded by the Nazis. Mercedes-Benz, please look up the Nazi ties to Mercedes-Benz. GM, General Motors, connected to the Nazis. BMW, from my understanding, connected. Volkswagen, anybody got a Volvo? Come on with it. Anybody got a Volvo? Adidas, anybody got Adidas? You ever owned a pair of Adidas? I know. You're like, how? Because they were brought over here due to Operation Paperclip, because America wanted to become more advanced. pardon me, IBM, Operation Paperclip, and a whole list of other things that are connected to the Nazis. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. So when Kanye West mentioned this, and let me clear something up real quick before we continue to move forward, because yes, those of you are asking, RizzaIslam.com to get the hoodie and other colors and shirts. Natural immunity wins. They were wrong. Fauci lied, and all of them pushed something that was a lie. Natural immunity is superior to the poison shot. RizzaIslam.com, get your hoodies and your shirts, and also join our private community, our exclusive community. Joinfreethinkers.com. Go to joinfreethinkers.com. Type in the chat, joinfreethinkers.com. It blew my mind to witness this. When Kanye mentioning certain things, and I'm going to just make sure I clear this up real quick. When he said, oh boy, man, this man, I love our brother, man. He just needs some help, sincerely. When he speaks the truth, I'm with it all day long. However, I'm going to say this. When he said, you know, Jesus and God said to forgive everyone, right? We can forgive everyone. This is what he's saying from a Christian perspective. This is what he's saying, right? From a Christian perspective. He said, I love Nazis. He said, I love the Jewish community and I love Nazis. And I like the positive contributions that Adolf Hitler has made. I was like, all right, now mind you, for people who are just emotional, they're like, wait a minute. And I was listening. I paused because I'm listening. I'm like, okay, no, I don't like the Nazis. I'll be damned. I'm good on that. I'm cool. I don't like the Nazis. So we can get that out of here. Whoop, out of here. We're not with the Nazis. Nazis hated black folks and other white people, right? They hated black folks and they hated other white people. But I'm listening because I know when a person is either trolling or they just have some issues that they're going through or whatnot. My point is I wasn't getting hung up on that. But he said that and I was like, oh, okay. And he said, well, because God said love everyone and forgiveness is possible for everyone and everyone can go into a layer and level of forgiveness. Okay, that's true according to the Bible. And I said, okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Brother, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that now. Don't do that now. Because we will not forgive any of those who enslaved our people. Correct me if I'm wrong. Would y'all forgive? Do you forgive any of those who enslaved our people? I don't forgive any of them who enslaved our people. Do y'all forgive them? So I agree with Jewish people who say we don't forgive no Nazis. Hell, black folks was killed by them too. So I absolutely agree. No, we don't. Let me swing. I'm going to finish that. Let me swing around this to just give y'all a quick little phrase that you may not have heard. Have you ever heard of, it may blow your mind. Have you ever heard of a Nazi hunter? A Nazi hunter? Have y'all ever heard of a Nazi hunter? Do you know that these exist? Do you know that in the Jewish community, they sit down and have meetings when they locate someone who they suspect to be a Nazi? They have Nazi hunters. I have had conversations with members of the Jewish community at a table, sitting right across, conversing with them. And I'm going to go into that story at another time on another live. But when he told me we have Nazi hunters in our community, he straight up said it. I was like, whoa, whoa, okay, whoa. I didn't say, whoa, I'm thinking, okay, wow, he just said that to me. Like, he's like, look, you're black. I mean, you guys should have. I was like, whoa, I'm listening to you, but come on, I'm listening. Kind of brings a different perspective, right? Like, whoa, that's how serious they are to this very moment. And I'm not entirely mad at them, but I just want to drop that on y'all so y'all can make sure you write that down. Nazi hunters in present time. They have these. Okay, now let's swing back because all of this is relevant. So to the over 1,000 people on Instagram and to the nearly 2,500 people watching on YouTube, thank you for taking out your time. Again, please make sure you subscribe to RizzaIslam.com. Please make sure that if you want to be a part of the closed membership group that I have, that we're doing a lot of things in the community and a whole lot of other things, go to joinfreethinkers.com. Everyone type it in the chat, the website, joinfreethinkers.com. Become a member there, because there's a lot that we're doing, and I truly appreciate it. It helps the work, and it helps all of us to help you, and we are helping each other. Join freethinkers.com, subscribe to RizzaIslam.com, and of course, subscribe to Rizza's channel on Rumble, where my podcast drops there in the uncensored version, where I go into more things that I can't necessarily talk about on here without getting censored. Okay? And RizzaIslam.com to get your merchandise, your hoodies, your book, which I cover some of this information in 2 chapters in there, RizzaIslam.com, RizzaIslam.com. Yes, I'm going to plug my things because your support is the only reason why I'm able to do what I do, because I do not get funded from this government. We already know that. I don't. I work for y'all. Your support is truly appreciated. Thank you very much. Back to Kanye West. When he said, I like Hitler, Hitler did some good things, the average person was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was thinking, let me think. First thing I thought was, Operation Paperclip. So anybody who's in the U.S. government better shut their mouth. First thing, America literally recruited Nazi German scientists because they saw that they could do good things for them. Don't jump up so quick. Don't jump up so quick to say, oh, he wrong. Oh, he crazy. No, America believed, the U.S. government believed and saw and knew, because of their looking at the devastating power of what the Nazis had done, that they could help them with weapons, with chemicals, and more items, more materials, more things. So they said, let's bring them over here and change their German names to English names, and to Italian names, and to all these different names that are not connected. So pause. When Kanye said that, when Ye literally opened his mouth and said that, I was like, whoa. Because all he did was openly say what the United States government officials said behind closed doors. That's what he did. Then when he said, well, I like Hitler, I was like, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like him. Not even close. Woo, don't like Hitler. Out of here with that. More so, I don't like Leopold II of Belgium more than I dislike Hitler. You see what I'm saying? However, let me just put this up before anybody got something to say. Because those of you in the ADL, we know you're watching this too, because that's what you do. You watch all members of the Nation of Islam to make sure we're not saying anything that you could try to use against Minister Farrakhan when we're speaking facts. I'm going to put this up here, so while I'm saying what I'm saying, you can refer back to Operation Paperclip. So let's go ahead and do that and end the nonsense. Let's go ahead and do that, because you have me on your hate list. Somebody go ahead in the YouTube chat, Google Rizza Islam, and the first or second thing that will pop up is the ADL article on me, the full ADL page on me, and put that in the chat so that people can see that the ADL is very racist, disgustingly racist organization. So let me say this. Some of the advances in technology came from the Germans. Just a basic fact. And some of those advances in technology came from Nazi Germans, not just Germans. Nazi Germans, not just Germans. Nazi Germans, not just Germans. Any of you who have a Mercedes-Benz, you know that the Mercedes-Benz is in the top echelon of vehicles as far as category, as far as livelihood, as far as expense, because it's very expensive, but as far as luxury, the Mercedes-Benz is in the top. BMW, Mercedes-Benz, you have those. And then, of course, you get into the playful vehicles, the Lamborghinis, the Aston Martins, you get into all of them things. But when it comes to the luxury vehicle, Mercedes-Benz. Nazi Germans. So what am I saying? Then there are other things as well. So let's just be clear here. Let's be clear here. Is Kanye right about saying, hey, Hitler did this? He said a few things that just weren't true either. I was like, nah. I think he said he invented railways or something like that. I was like, no, Hitler didn't invent. He didn't invent railways. That's not true. And I think he said he invented. There were like a few incorrect statements completely that were like, no, it's just not true. I didn't get all emotional about it. It just wasn't true. But when he said Nazis can be forgiven, stop dissing the Nazis, they've done things to contribute. I was like, that's all I said. I was like, Operation Paperclip. The U.S. government agrees with him. General Electric. Absolutely. Yes, somebody was saying highways. Okay, now in that sense, when it comes to the Germans, as far as their I would say their addition to the highway formation, I'll give them some credit for that. And I'm only saying some, because our people were doing some pretty advanced things as it pertains to that as well. All right, just kind of, there's some historical things with that too. That's why I'm saying, okay, I'll give them that partial credit on that. Now, so he was making statements that you're not supposed to say out loud. He was making statements that you're not supposed to say out loud. He said the porn industry is heavily controlled, run, and I believe, or he said founded by the Jewish community. I was like, ooh. I was like, brother is cooking. He's cooking out here. I said, wait, because that's not entirely incorrect. That's not entirely incorrect. Wait a minute. The porn industry. Wait a minute. Let's go ahead and, okay, let's do this. This is how I go when it comes to my podcast. I'm in a full studio and we're breaking down these things in a very deep way. Okay, fine. Porn industry, you say. Porn industry, you say. Porn industry, you say. Mr. West. Okay. Let us go to Al Jazeera. Let's do this. Is that statement true? Is the Jewish community or high-ranking individuals who happen to be Jews, which, by the way, they like for you to say, separate the individuals from the group. Sure, we can do that. But if it applies to a majority of the group, then we have to say that. But if it doesn't, say that too. So we have to always give respect. No matter if a person is Jewish, black, this, that. No, speak the actual facts, right? Because we're not here to blanket statement the whole Jewish community. However, if it applies, it applies. If it does. It says here, Al Jazeera Midden Voice internet channel says Jews created and control the porn industry in order to pollute American and Christian values. Whoa. 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 The question you may ask is, how did the Jews take control of the porn industry? How did they do it? How? How did they do it? Okay. In 2016, the Israeli Knesset passed a bill that forces the internet service providers, ISPs, internet service providers, to remove porn websites throughout the country of Israel. Stay with me. Because the content on these sites harms children and hurts the nation, especially since it has become easier for children to log onto porn websites, which we can agree with. It's very easy for children to access porn on smartphones, on the computer, right? Yes or no? Like it is really, it's very sick. It's very bad. It's messing up a lot of people. It's destroying a lot of our children's minds prematurely. Like they're not able to handle that. And so they become sex crazed at a young age. I was introduced to pornography when I was like 5 on VHS tape. Some of y'all like, damn, you old. No, I'm only 32. So people still watch VHS tapes right now. Knock it off. But that's how I was introduced to it at 5. And it prematurely negatively affects your thought pattern when it comes to sex and relations between men and women. And it really messes you up. It does. Just letting y'all know, it really does. Let's continue. So in 2016, the Israeli Knesset passed a bill that forces the internet service providers to remove porn websites throughout the country in Israel because the content on these sites harms children and hurts the nation, especially since it has become easier for children to log onto porn websites than it is for them to buy ice cream at the local market. A little exaggerative there, but partially true as well. I'll give you that. This forced the Jewish state to take action in order to protect minors from this danger. This bill raises a legitimate question. A legitimate question. Because it contains a strange paradox, how come the Jews banned pornography in their own country when they were the first to expand porn and invest in it to begin with? We're only going over history. We're not attacking a group of people. To the ADL, knock it off, stop it. Black people are kind of aware now. You can't use us going over history to try to say, we're anti-Semitic. Stop it. Stop it. You're anti-Black racist. That's the fact. Us going over history don't make anybody anti-Semitic. Stop it. I don't want to kill Jewish people. I don't wish that they die I don't wish none of that on any of y'all at all. So knock it off. Let's get out of the emotional. Let's get out of the emotional. All right. And let's get to the reality. Stop that. We're grown folks. We have the right to read books and have legitimate conversations and dialogue. A few people have tried to present the facts about the role of the Jews in porn, the Jewish community, or top-ranking members who are a part of that. But most of them were either attacked under the pretext of anti-Semitism and incitement to violence, or had their own videos removed from YouTube and the internet. Yes, that happens because it happened to me. It happens to all of us whenever we just bring up anything and say a Jewish person is connected to it. If a Jewish man went and did something, he did something. We're not saying it's because of the Jewish community. If a Black man went and did something, we're not blaming the whole Black community on it. That dude did what he did, and he happens to be a Black man. Period. That's hate speech. No, it's facts. Stop it. Just stop it. It's sick now. People cannot stand when the ADL does what they do. And again, the ADL, you're very wicked and very evil and very racist, which is why you don't want to debate us, because we're going to politely dismantle the lies. And we have a great conversation if you would just stop attacking us and just have a dialogue. But again, you know what will happen. But let's continue. The Jews have dominated most aspects of the porn industry. Let's prove this, if not all of them. According to the American Time magazine, the inventor of the sex phone lines was Gloria Leonard. Type in Gloria Leonard, the inventor of the sex phone lines. These are individuals we're mentioning here, and they happen to be Jewish, but these are individuals that we're mentioning right now, right? These are individuals we're mentioning. Let's continue. Gloria Leonard. Please make sure you type it in the chat. And the way that they spell her last name is Leonard, Leonard. Gloria Leonard, the sex phone lines inventor, who throughout her porn journey would present herself as a good Jewish girl from New York. Let's continue. Even in the famous Playboy magazine, which was founded in the mid-1950s, the Jews' control over the magazine team was entirely clear from day one. Most of the male porn actors in the 1970s and 1980s were Jews. Now, this is what made me say, whoa, wait a minute. You know how a lot of Black folks, a lot of rappers in particular, like to jump up into their music and they say, wait a minute. Back then, it used to be, I want to be rich like Donald Trump, right? A lot of rappers would call themselves Donald Trump or say they would identify richness and wealth with Donald Trump. A lot of rappers, right? All right. Who is it that black folks and others refer to when it comes to being able to have a high level of sexual prowess, brothers or sisters. If you guess this name, first of all, shame on you because you know the name, but I'm just playing on. Just if you guess this name, then you know it's crazy because you're gonna be like, wait a minute, he is Jewish. It's gonna blow your mind. Ron Jeremy, you're right there. See what I'm saying? Ron Jeremy, listen. Okay, something wrong with y'all on YouTube. Too many of y'all got that answer right too quickly. Y'all need to all go on a fast from porn, and please stop that. Get your minds right, because you shouldn't have known it. That was a test. You shouldn't have got it right. But fine. Let's continue. All right. Woo! I was like, yo. Because they'd be like, yeah, rich like Donald Trump. That's how I used to be in movies and music. And if it was about sex, they'd be like, yeah, Ron Jeremy, call me Ron Jeremy. I didn't know why they were saying that until I learned about who Ron Jeremy was. But what just blew my mind was I was like, wait a minute. Ron Jeremy is Jewish, and he's given like the credit of being one of the top godfathers of porn. And he's Jewish. Okay, let's continue. Most of the male porn actors in the 1970s and 1980s were Jews. The most famous of those actors, the most renowned porn actor of all time, is the American Jew Ron Jeremy, who is known as the porn legend. Okay, let's continue. Stephen Hirsch, a 57-year-old Jewish man, is known as the Donald Trump of porn. Stephen Hirsch. He is the manager of the Vivid company, which is known as the Microsoft of porn. Wow. Stephen Hirsch. Type in that name. Stephen Hirsch. Hirsch. Next, question. What led the Jews to the holy march towards the porn industry? Mind you, this is something that Kanye said in his interview with Alex Jones. Now, again, I'm just listening to the interview. And I'm just seeing if anything that this man is saying is true. And of course, he made plenty of factual statements. It's just some of the factual statements he made are considered to be inflammatory. Now, this is the commercialized stuff. See, I'm a black man from Compton. I don't really get into that. Oh, it's left-leaning. It's right-leaning. It's Democrat, Republican. We don't trust any of you. Please get this to your head. We don't trust any of you. Left, right, up, down. Republican, Democrat, red, blue. We don't trust y'all. We trust you. So knock it off with all these labels. We don't trust you. Period. The Great Compromise of 1877, also known as the Great Betrayal of 1877, Democrats and Republicans came together to agree to put people back on the plantation. Again, I'm going to finish this porn topic because y'all are really into that, I can see. Shame on you. But 1877, the Great Compromise, the Great Betrayal of 1877 is when Democrats and Republicans got together to put black people back on the plantation. So I don't trust either side. And just a point of fact that is also going to help you to really thoroughly get why we are describing and discussing what we're talking about. It was a man by the name of William Levy who introduced the idea to the Democrats and Republicans at the Wormley Hotel, 1877. I believe February 26, 1877. He introduced this idea to them. William Levy was a Jewish man. So there they go again. Another member of the Jewish community with a high level of influence, doing things that would negatively affect black people as a whole. Same thing with Samuel Gompers, who was over the American Federation of Labor, who helped to put black people out of work after emancipation. So we had no choice but to rob or steal or whatever we could do to make ends meet or to get money. Because a white man came up with white-only unions. Jewish man. Samuel Gompers. The school that's called Gompers over in Watts, that we used to have an after-school program in. We were teaching the teenagers literacy skills and anger management communication skills. That school is named after Samuel Gompers. It's right there in Watts. So there it is. Jewish community again. Let's get back to it though. Now the porn industry, right? So we're back on the porn industry. This is a statement that Kanye made on his interview with Alex Jones. Is there a more profound reason other than the desire to earn profits in light of the low cost of production. Researchers have mentioned reasons like the rebellion against conservative values, the desire to corrupt people. And let me hold on before I read this, because I didn't write that. But for those of you watching and who are listening and may sound like, oh, this is painting Jewish people in a bad light. No, the facts are the facts. It's like saying it's painting Nazis in a bad light. No, the facts are the damn facts. Painting white folks in a bad light from the South, and the segregationists and those who were whipping and murdering and raping and robbing our ancestors. No, the facts are the facts. I need everyone to type this in, which is a very critical point, to the nearly 3,000 of you watching live on YouTube. Thank you for coming in here. To the over 1,000 on Instagram watching live, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. RizzaIslam.com. Get your merchandise. Natural immunity wins. We were right. RizzaIslam.com. And also join private members only group where we're doing a lot in there. Joinfreethinkers.com. Go to the website, joinfreethinkers.com, and become a member ASAP. I need you to type in this book. It is a collection, actually. It's a volume set. The Jewish community is not altogether united in the way that they may appear. They're just more united publicly than they are privately. They're more united publicly. And I'm saying as a collective for the majority, but privately, it's still same issues we got in the community, right? In the Black community. We have our own issues. We have disagreements. We have this, we have that. But there is something that the rabbis have. And the rabbis are in the higher echelon because they are looked upon as the voices of truth. And they have sages. They have those who are the advisors and those who advise when it comes to banking and money and all of that and politics. Those are the rabbinical scholars you have. And then you have the rabbis and you have all these other different levels that they have. But there's something called the Babylonian Talmud. Ah, man, I need y'all to put that in the chat real quick if you do not mind. The Babylonian Talmud. Because this is where Alex Jones, Rizza Islam, Minister Farrakhan, we don't have to say anything. They say it themselves in their own writings. The Babylonian, this is the full name of it, the Babylonian Talmud. Some say Talmud. Babylon, if you remember what Babylon was about, then okay. You're like, well, why is that connected to the... All right. The Babylonian Talmud, as it pertains to the Jewish community, is a set of laws, writings, directives, instructions, beliefs, separate from the Torah or the Torah. The Torah is the Old Testament of the Bible. The Torah, you're talking about the books of Moses, where it goes over the laws of Moses and the 10 Commandments and the bloodlines to a degree, over all of that, where it talks about Israel and it talks about the different families and all of these different things and who should serve whom and all of that. The Torah and the Talmud. Once you start learning about the Babylonian Talmud, once you start learning about what the Talmud says about sex with minors, I'm so serious. This is not slandering the Jewish community. This is not attacking anybody. Again, remember, attack. Stop it. Words are not an attack unless I'm literally saying some things that's attacking you. No, I'm saying your book, the Babylonian Talmud, what it says about having sex with children and what is permissible to have sex with minors is allowed. Let me say this again. This is not Rizza Islam originating this mentality or idea. This is Rizza Islam referring to their books, the Babylonian Talmud. If this video gets taken down from YouTube, you will understand why. Just go and follow my Rumble ASAP. If you can, while you're watching this, you can please go to my Rumble right now and search up Rizza Islam and follow the page there ASAP, because I'm not joking. I'm surprised that my YouTube has been up this long, but y'all know why, because I've been very strategic about how I've been talking and how I've been saying things so that it doesn't get taken down. But just so you know, the reason why I was blocked from posting on YouTube for the last 2 weeks is because I put up a video that was destroying the anti-Semitic label. And the title was, "Are We All Anti-Semitic?" And they took that down. They said it was hate speech. There was no hate speech. It was words coming from their own people talking about how they use it as a trick. It was words coming from their own writings. It was words coming from me on my episode of Drink Champs when I was interviewed by Noriega on Drink Champs. If you haven't seen my episode on Drink Champs, go watch it. It was different people. It was Charlemagne the God saying the same thing Kanye is saying right now. He was saying it roughly 10 years ago on an interview with the devil named Vlad, who I will never go on his platform again. There were all of these. It was Minister Farrakhan calling out the evil, wicked people who do evil and wicked, nasty, dirty, filthy things that go against God, but then they call themselves Jews. Those people that do it, not the whole Jewish community, just those individuals. Same thing with those individuals who call themselves Muslim, do that evil, nasty, wicked stuff. People who call themselves Christians, do that evil, nasty, wicked stuff. He was calling that out. That whole video was less than 12 minutes long, and it was destroying that lie of anti-Semitism. Oh my Lord, it was beautiful. And any Jewish person who watched it would appreciate it, because like, okay, thank you. You're not saying all of us. You're saying the ones who are a part of our community doing that disgusting, nasty stuff, but giving us a bad name. Yes. Who are making us look bad. Yes. Who misrepresent us and what we believe and how we truly want to serve God. Yes. That's the point. But the Babylonian Talmud, however, that book is wicked as hell. Let me give you a few things. One, they talk about how having sex with children is permissible, minors, especially if they are Gentiles and not Jews. Oh my gosh, boy, y'all, man. Another thing, they talk about Jesus burning. It talks about Jesus burning in hell, in boiling. Y'all, this, man, I don't even want to go into some of the descriptions of this, but it is very, whether you believe in Jesus or not is irrelevant. How they describe some of what they believe in this book. That Jesus is burning and boiling semen. Talking about the Babylonian Talmud. How it talks about in certain circumstances where you can lie to those who are not Jews, those who are Gentiles, that you can lie in certain circumstances. This is in the Babylonian Talmud. This is not Rizza speaking ill of anyone who is Jewish. No, Jewish people, the ones who follow the Torah, the ones who do not stand with all this evil and wickedness, they fight against this. There's a whole millions of Jewish people that do not stand with the evil actions of Israel, of how they're killing the Palestinians, how they're sterilizing Ethiopian Jews, black Jews over in Israel. It's a large amount of Jews that stand completely against that nonsense. So let's get this straight. But that Babylonian Talmud talks about how you can lie to people who are not considered Jews. It talks about how everyone, especially the Gentiles, are to be the forever slaves and servants to the Jewish people. It talks about how people who are not Jewish, it describes a certain group of people, the masses, as goyim, or goys. Type in the word goyim, Goyim. If you have a Jewish friend, talk to them about it. Ask them. Goyim. Goyim. I know some of y'all are like, dang, man, this is some heavy stuff. And what does it mean? Goyim, useless eaters, heifers, cows. Useless eaters. People who are useless and they just consume. They just eat things and take up space, and you are not You're not Jew, you're goyim. Seriously. This is something that has to be discussed before people go at Kanye, sit him over to the side for a second, and really start looking at what is all of this about anyway. Then you have to know about what Ashkenazi is. Boy, you must learn about that. Ashkenazi. And you must know what Khazars are. Khazars. A warlike tribe over in Europe. It's Ashkenazi Khazars. People who converted to Judaism. There's a lot going on because there's a separation. All right. So I had to give you all these layers. But let's continue with the porn thing. Because again, I know y'all like really want to be on the Jewish involvement in the porn industry. So we're going to go into this. But I had to give you these layers because as we discuss these things, if we want to discuss them in full context, then we must know more about it. That way we can logically converse and dialogue about this thing. If you don't have the knowledge that is proper, you're only going to be emotional. You're only going to respond emotionally, and then you're going to fall victim to when the Jewish leadership of the ADL and others say, you need to dislike that person because we dislike that person. It's like, sit the hell down. You don't pay my bills. You're not my damn master. Go the hell over there. We have people that we dislike within the Black community because of what they have done to our people. And that includes many members of the Jewish community who enslaved our people, paid for the shackles, who owned the ships, made money off of us, helped to sell us on the auction block. No, we do not dislike who people tell us to dislike. We dislike those who have earned it by way of their evil and wicked actions against our people as a collective group. So we have respect for members of every group to a degree. But do not get it twisted trying to get us to hate somebody because you hate it. You're white. So you must respect the fact that when you're talking to Black folks, take into consideration what your people as a whole, no matter if you're calling me Italian, Germans, French, Spanish, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. You're considered white. I understand people don't go into the color classification system and the Johann Friedrich Blumenbach and Carl von Linnaeus, etc. All that bull crap. We knew them as Caucasian, pale-skinned people before Carl von Linnaeus and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach ever came into existence. We knew about them as the ice people, people coming from the caves, cave dwellers. We knew them as these titles. We already knew this. So take responsibility before trying to come at our people to make us take on your load of your problem, failing to realize that you are part of our problem. We have our own problems with each other, but we also have the fact that you have been a part of our horrible circumstance. Horribly. Transatlantic slave trade, book 1. Secret relationship between Blacks and Jews. For those who just got in here, go to noi.org or go to finalcall.store. These are only books that are compiled by the nation based off of all the writings of historical information from Jewish rabbis, Jewish scholars, Jewish historians. It's their words. Book 1, Transatlantic Slave Trade. Go over that. You need to get book 1. You have to get book 2. You have to get book 2. And of course, with good old Leo Frank case, you must get book number 3. Very critical. 3, you're going to be handicapped. You need all 3. All right? Volumes. Do not get them from Amazon. Go to noi.org or finalcall.store. I don't recommend you get it from Amazon because too many books on Amazon that came from the nation, they put words in it. They mixed up certain words. They added things in there, took things out. We don't trust it coming from other sources. I'm just being honest with you. I get mine from noi.org. All right. Now, let's get back to this whole porn thing because I know some of y'all are still interested. For those of you who just came in, please make sure for the nearly 3,300 people in YouTube. Yes, this is Brother Rizza Islam's actual page. Please subscribe to the page. The goal is to get back the 150,000 subscribers that I lost when they took down my YouTube and everything else. Subscribe to this page. Also, because a lot of what I'm going to, yes, I said porn. For those of you who just came in, the porn industry as it pertains to the Jewish involvement in the porn industry. All right. So I'm not just throwing the word porn out. For those of y'all who just got in, you're like, what does it mean by porn? Chill out now. Go to Rumble and subscribe to me. Go to Rumble, search up Rizza Islam and follow my page there, because that is where I'm not getting censored like I am on YouTube. Rumble.com, Rizza Islam. Please subscribe to the YouTube there. And also for those on Instagram, same thing to you. Please, please, please. We were starting off with this book here because of the interview that Kanye West had with Alex Jones, and he brought up some things about the Nazis, etc. If you don't know about Operation Paperclip, you cannot logically, morally, rightfully, intellectually, accurately have a debate nor dialogue about that topic. You can't. If you don't know about Operation Paperclip, you must know about that. Get this book here, roughly 592 pages. Very good, very well outlined. Also go to RizzaIslam.com to get this here. Natural Immunity Wins, other colors in the hoodies and shirts. RizzaIslam.com. Make sure you go there ASAP and get this, because we were proven correct. Fauci is currently in court because of him collaborating with social media companies to censor us when they knew we were right the whole time. And the natural immunity, over 200 studies prove, and there's far more than that, but I'm just going to mention that for now. Over 200 studies prove that natural immunity is superior to that of the poison stab. All right. So let your shirt and your hoodie do the talking. You ain't got to say words. Natural immunity wins. RizzaIslam.com. For those who are asking, again, the book is titled Operation Paperclip. For those who are asking, Operation Paperclip by Annie Jacobson. I know it's inverted turn. Operation Paperclip by Annie Jacobson. I'm going to finish this here. Make sure y'all go get in the last 3 real quick books before I finish up this thing, because this interview got crazy. And I'm going to just mention a few more things. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, book 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you go get these at noi.org. You will not regret getting these. These are investments, all of these compiled by the Nation of Islam's research team, but the words, the references, all from their scholars, Jewish writers, Jewish historians, Jewish rabbis, talking about their involvement in the enslavement of our people, the transatlantic enslavement of our people, the selling of our people, the money they made off of our people, all of this stuff. Horrible, just horrible stuff. Make sure you get that. Now, let me finish this up here. The Jewish involvement in the porn industry, which is what Kanye was talking about, along with many other things in this interview with Alex Jones. Ron Jeremy, Jewish man. Yes, Ron Jeremy. I know y'all keep saying the books are sold out. I know. Go to a black-owned bookstore that has them as well. Search up black-owned bookstores that have them as well. All right. Let us look here. Hugh Hefner. For those of you who just came in, we went over a lot of information as it pertains to the porn industry and the foundation of the porn industry. And let's look at one very critical thing when it comes to the foundation of the porn industry. Boy, this right here is critical. Porn has been around. I mean, it's been, it's existed, especially in Caucasian culture, in the way that it has existed for a very long time. All right. For a very long time. But as it pertains to the control, it's Mr. Let me get his name here. So, founder of pornography, a brief history here. So you have to know a man here. Why is it not mentioning the exact name here? Let me bring up this point while I'm going into this one here. With the people who are producing these books that are talking about lots and lots and lots and lots of sex in first grade, second grade, and third grade classes, these books that they're having children read, where they're showing children about anal sex and all of these things, a large number of them are Jewish authors. And these books are being made mandatory in these schools, middle school, Florida, in California. I believe I saw the parents stood up in Texas. Parents are standing up in California right now too as well. Let me see 1 second here. Okay. 1 second here, y'all. Let me finish this piece. Hugh Hefner. Anybody remember Hugh Hefner? Anybody remember Hugh Hefner? Anybody? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because of the whole circumstance with Balenciaga and what Kanye was saying. And he brought this up. You remember? Okay, y'all remember Hugh Hefner? Y'all remember? Okay, good. Okay. Another person that a lot of our brothers who are rappers used to call themselves in the 90s in their music. I need females like Hugh Hefner, right? All that. Okay. Remembering the Jewish playmates who graced the pages of Hugh Hefner's legacy. All those who claim to read Playboy for the articles might now actually mean it. On Tuesday, Playboy announced that starting in March, its magazine will no longer feature nude models. It will, however, still have sexy, seductive pictorials of the world's most beautiful women, according to a news article. But for the publication that changed the way sexuality was viewed in America, it certainly is in this era. Now, right here. All right. Playboy's pages were never exactly full of members of the tribe, but below are 7 Jewish women who appeared nude in the iconic magazine. Now, here's a reason why it has to be understood. Make sure you type in these names. When people are looking at and noticing the connection between religion and evil, nasty, wicked behavior, Catholic Church, for example, you're not going to be able to separate it entirely if it happens with so many members. And then if it happens with so many members, then what you're going to have to do is look at, is this being taught? Is this just a large amount of sick people that are not doing what the religion teaches or what the culture teaches? Or is this what the culture and religion teaches? It has to be analyzed. With the Catholic Church, it's not just a culture. It is what it teaches to a degree. That's what it is. That's why it's become so widely known. In the Babylonian Talmud, it talks about that. Sex with children, sex and what you can do if they're not a Gentile, things you can do to a woman sexually that are accepted more than if it's a Jewish woman. Same thing with the Bible. And it says, for example, a small example, if a woman has a child and it's a female child, she is unclean, I believe, for 90 days versus if she has a male child, she is unclean for 30 days. She's very misogynistic. It's very evil, right, when it comes to that and how it treats men versus women, boys versus girls. But there are things in the Talmud that talk about the ways you can do things with children and people and women, for the most part, with sex, sexually. That is totally okay if they're not Jewish. All right. Sally Sheffield, please type in these names really quick, because we're not just going to say this is what's happening in their community and we're not going to prove it. We have to bring facts. That's all we do. Suzanne Bernard. Sally Sheffield. Sally Sheffield. 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 Barbie Benton. B-A-R-B-I. I'm going to mention Balenciaga. I'm going to mention, I've never owned any Balenciaga, proudly. And if you have, we're not judging. I'm just thankful I haven't. Barbie Benton, B-A-R-B-I, Benton, B-E-N-T-O-N. She was born Barbara Klein. Nikki Ziering, N-I-K-K-I, Z-I-E-R-I-N-G. Nikki Ziering, who converted to Judaism just before getting involved in Playboy. Lindsay Vuolo, L-I-N-D-S-E-Y-V-U-O-L-O. Only giving you these names so that you can Look at them yourself so you can see, okay, these are members of the Jewish community. Anita Marks, Anita, Marks, Marks. Those are just a few. And I'm going to go into this right here because now I'm going to tell you something here. Once I started looking at these names, I said, this right here is critical. Critical. Have you ever heard of the Walt Disney of porn? Anybody ever heard of the Walt Disney? Walt Disney, by the way, was Jewish too. That's another interesting point just to, yeah, Walt Disney, yeah. Walt Disney was involved with the Nazis. He was involved with the Nazis. Walt Disney was Jewish. He was involved with the Nazis. That too. Man, that's another. I went into that on one of the episodes of my podcast that will be dropped. Okay. The Walt Disney of porn. Reuben Sturman. And also Alvin Goldstein. You can't get away from that. Reuben Sturman. Reuben Sturman. Sturman. Referred to as the Walt Disney of porn, was an American pornographer and businessman from Ohio who co-founded sex toys company Doc Johnson. Boy, Mr. Sturman. Also, he was the son of Russian Jews, by the way, so you can know exactly which area. Alvin Goldstein. He was a porn pioneer. He's a porn pioneer. Alvin Goldstein. They even wrote about him in the Times of Israel. Look at this here. I believe he died in 2013. In the Times of Israel, they wrote about him. Not even hiding it. Not even hiding it. Why am I bringing this up? Because Kanye West brought it up. And what we don't want is for people just hearing things and just say, that's inflammatory, that's terrible. Well, yeah, terrible, but it's the facts that has to be discussed, that has to be talked about. Disney is very disgusting with this heavy connection to pedophilia. Absolutely. But before I go into that, the Times of Israel, porn pioneer Alvin Goldstein, Jewish-born mogul even, was the founder of the infamous Screw magazine and the public access cable show Midnight Blue. Al Goldstein, the man who brought his particular brand of not just any kind of porn, hardcore porn to the masses. Goldstein was best known for sharing his raunchy sensibilities and radical ideas through the Screw magazine and his New York City public access cable show, Midnight Blue. Mr. Goldstein did not invent the dirty magazine, the Times obituary states, but he was the first to present it to a wide audience without the slightest pretense of classiness or subtlety, meaning he didn't give a damn. Yeah, that's what we're doing. He was just, this is what we're doing. Sex as depicted in Screw magazine was rarely pretty or romantic or even particularly sexy. It was primarily a business with consumers and suppliers like no other. If you're not familiar with his over-the-topness, this about sums it up. Quote, this is a quote. Apart from Screw magazine, Mr. Goldstein's most notorious creation was Al Goldstein himself, a cartoonishly vituperative amalgam of Borscht Belt comic, free-range social critic and sex-obsessed loser who seemed to embody a moment in New York City's cultural history, the sleaze and decay of Times Square in the 1960s and 70s. The piece goes on to detail Goldstein's path to, as well as influence on, the sex industry, the rise and fall of his mini empire, and his eventual descent into poverty and poor health. The Jewish media outlet known as the Times of Israel wrote that. So they're not hiding the fact that they have members who pioneered and who were heavily involved in the mass promotion, evolution of the porn industry and or pornography in magazines, in film, etc. And like it said, Mr. Goldstein's particular type of pornography was not necessarily classy. It was over the top, raunchy, meaning it was hardcore porn, is what they're saying. So again, I just had to bring that up from them. That's them. And I know it didn't show for some reason, but let me see. I think that's a better angle. Let me see if I can get it to a better angle here for those on YouTube. Yo, I'm trying to get them to see it. Just type in Al Goldstein or porn pioneer Al Goldstein, the Times of Israel. Y'all type that in. Porn pioneer Al Goldstein on Google, and the Times of Israel will pop up. Now, let me end this thing here because we have been on for nearly 2 hours and I have unloaded a lot of information. Now, let me say this. Somebody said Ye is suspended again off of Twitter. Hey, it's what happens. He did say some things that were like, dang, all right, brother. Okay, all right now. Okay. All right. All right. But what he said that was true is all I was going over. It's just the things that he was saying that were facts. That's what we were going over about the Jewish involvement in the porn industry and Adolf Hitler. Not that he liked Adolf Hitler, but as far as Nazis doing things pretty much that America endorsed and approved of and then brought them over here for to help them in America to do as well. He was saying a lot of stuff that was factual. All right. For those who are asking about the hoodie, RizzaIslam.com. You got to get that ASAP because the studies prove natural immunity wins. But the last thing I want to mention here is Disney and Balenciaga. Now, let me say this really quick. Let me say this about Disney and Balenciaga. Baal is king, is what Balenciaga means. Balenciaga means. It means Baal is king. Baal is a demon. Baal is a devil. Demon, devil. Okay, so that's what Balenciaga actually means. Whoa, can't hold that one down. They couldn't hold that one back. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Here's the problem that I have, however. Why are you surprised? Why is anyone surprised about this? I'm trying to figure this out. We've been pushing black-owned brands. We've been pushing this. Why are you surprised about the fact that a brand that has existed since the early 1900s, mid to early 1900s, is pushing the abuse of children by depicting them in a sexual manner? These are pedophile-inspired brands. This is what they do. When you bring up Disney, for example, Walt Disney, Jewish man who created the Disney character based off of a rat that some people call a mouse. He was involved with the Nazis. He used to show up to different speeches by the Nazis. He gave support to them, and he even depicted certain things dealing with the Nazis in his cartoons, in his magazines. Walt Disney, some of the old cartoons of Mickey Mouse. Woo! Some of the old cartoons of Mickey Mouse. Lord. Shows Mickey placing his penis into blocks of cheese, poking holes in the cheese, and he turned it ever so slightly and poked more holes into the cheese until The cheese was Swiss cheese now because of that holes in it. Then he put it back on the conveyor belt, and he had another piece of cheese, and he was humping and poking holes into the cheese until there were holes in that block of cheese, and he put that back on the conveyor belt. These are the early cartoons of Walt Disney. Walt Disney and Disney itself, not only heavily racist, but has put pornographic imagery in these cartoons that all of us grew up watching. We did not even realize how programmed we were becoming. Everything from The Little Mermaid all the way to from Pocahontas and Bambi and all these cartoons, all of these movies that we had on VHS when we was children, we was watching this. They were programming us so subtly. I'll give you another one. I don't know if y'all seen it, but this one was quite obvious. The new Cinderella. All right. Remember how Cinderella had the fairy godmother, Cinderella's white, fairy godmother, the original Cinderella, right? Everybody's white, cool. And the fairy godmother's a woman. Then it went from that white woman to Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston became the fairy godmother because Cinderella became Brandy. And Brandy and Cinderella, Cinderella's Brandy now, and her fairy godmother is Whitney Houston, which people have widely acclaimed and say was the best Cinderella ever. Then it went from the older white woman as fairy godmother to our sister Whitney Houston as the fairy godmother to now Billy Porter, a flaming homosexual black man, is now the first fairy godmother, whom he calls the Fab G, or the Fabulous Godmother, with the movie that I believe just came out last year. The fairy godmother is now a homosexual black man in Cinderella, the new Cinderella. Disney. What are you doing to the children, Disney? In his interview, in Billy Porter's interview, right before the release of the new Cinderella movie, he said, the children are ready now. The children are ready. It's the adults that are slowing things down. How much clearer can you get? No, not clear enough for you? Fine. Let's go to a closed meeting that was leaked. A Zoom meeting with some of those who work at Disney. It was called Re-envisioning Tomorrow, I believe. Re-envisioning Tomorrow. For those who are asking, RizzaIslam.com for the hoodies, Natural Immunity Wins, multiple colors, shirts, book, multiple things. Also, if you want to be a part of our private, exclusive community, go to joinfreethinkers.com and become a member. Joinfreethinkers.com and become a member. Everything you get upfront early before anybody else, and things that other people won't necessarily get. Joinfreethinkers.com. Go become a member ASAP. This sick thing called Disney Re-envisioning Tomorrow. Have y'all heard about this? Have you heard about this? Y'all let me know if you've heard about this. Because if you haven't, then you be reimagine tomorrow. Reimagine tomorrow, not re-envision tomorrow. Somebody say, nope. You haven't heard of it? Nope. Okay. Reimagine Tomorrow is Disney's launch that they set up last year. They had a closed meeting where they said there are not enough voices being represented within the LGBTQIA plus. It's technically LGBTQQIAA plus. Insanity to the highest limit, and large numbers of people who are gay, homosexual, and all that don't even rock with the LGBT. They don't even identify with it. They don't want to be a part of it. Why? Because they realize it is being used to push pedophilia onto children. Here we go with Disney. Disney, Reimagine Tomorrow. They had a closed meeting on Zoom where members who work for Disney and other organizations were coming together, going over how they want to, how they envision, how they are thinking about incorporating. The word they use was incorporating. Always listen to how they use slick language. Incorporating more voices that properly represent, no pushing sex onto children who don't need to be seeing that nonsense. That's what that is. And one of these workers blurted out, well, I thought it was going to be hard for me to just be myself and be openly bisexual and talk about all these things when I was on movie sets and talking with the crew, about my not so secret gay agenda. She said it literally verbatim, word for word, about my not so secret gay agenda, but I was surprised. They were open to it. About my not so secret gay agenda. She said it right out of her. And it was a Black woman. Always using our people. Always using our people as the face of the agendas. Always. Always. So when she said that, and then there were other people in there, and people said, well, I'm a parent of a trans preteen. Listen, we love our family no matter what your sexual orientation is, but let's make this very clear. The majority of all of this is a trend, is a product of programming, is being pushed by the United States government as a part of the depopulation agenda to get rid of human beings. One of the top ways of getting rid of human beings is to prevent them from procreating to begin with. Nobody's proud of that. That's how you know. So all of this is a big bunch of mumbo jumbo, jumbled, evil, wicked, nasty things that are coming in the name of help. So again, when I saw Kanye get up there on Alex Jones, and the brother needs to he needs people around him that truly love him and care about him, that can really help him. Because Harley Pasternak, Kanye's former trainer, the Caucasian secret agent, Canadian government agent who specialized in psychological operations and defense, a military operative who had Kanye committed to a psych ward and drugged, and then threatened to do it to him again, and even said, playtime with your children will never be the same. I'll have you get sent back to zombie land again. This white man threatened Kanye. He told him, look, I'm about to get you drugged again and committed to a psych ward again. Y'all need to know that they do this to people all the time. But it's never publicly promoted to show you that's what they're doing. That's why he said what he said. So while y'all running around, Kanye's crazy, you clearly know nothing about the field of mental health. You clearly know nothing about what they do to people when they get up to a certain status, and to control them, they first attack your character. They separate you from family and people that care about you, destroy your image in the public, and then if they really can't control you, they commit you to a psych ward or get you put on some form of psychotropic drugs that chemically destroy you. And then eventually either they take you out, or they know that those drugs and the common effects of those drugs, which are death, suicidal thoughts, homicidal tendencies, you will take yourself out. Nobody's asking questions about the 22 plus veterans committing suicide every day. Now realizing that most of them, if not all, are on multiple pills that they are given. And they are going crazy because of what these pills are causing inside of their head. And you don't understand them, and you call them crazy and shell-shocked, not realizing they were given pills when they were deployed because of psychiatrists who are on bases. They were told, take these. Michael Jackson, another victim of it. Cat Williams, another one who was on Seroquel. They shut Cat Williams up because he was speaking too much truth. He was exposing too much, and particularly from his comedy special Catpocalypse, I believe, which aired in 2012, where he exposed a lot of what the government was planning and what they were doing. He was too big. He was too loud. And they said, we're going to shut him up right now. So they put him on Seroquel, one of the heaviest sedatives that you can give a person, and it destroys the brain chemistry. Michael Jackson, propofol. Tyrese, Rexulti. Scientific name is brexpiprazole. Tyrese came out and apologized after he was crying all on camera. And he said he went to his psychiatrist and they gave him that drug, and he said it caused him to go crazy. He said it caused him to say and think things that he never said and never thought before in his life. And he had to get off of it. That's what Tyrese said. I'm just letting y'all know this is what happens. Robin Williams was on these psych drugs, and he said that he was having suicidal thoughts because of what the drugs were doing. It's just, there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot. But let me end this on this point here. I know it's, again, we were a little over 2 hours. Thank y'all for being a part of this so far. I'm about to close out. There's over 3,200 people on YouTube. Again, please make sure to subscribe to my Rumble account. Go to Rizza Islam, go to rumble.com and type in Rizza in the search bar and follow me on Rumble. Subscribe to RizzaIslam.com. I'm almost done because I'm about to drop something on y'all regarding Alex Jones. Oh, boy. Get your merchandise, your books, anything like that. RizzaIslam.com. Don't be afraid. Everybody who did not get the shot and people who were trying to educate people will be wearing this. Guarantee that. Natural Immunity wins, hoodies, shirts, different colors, different sizes, you name it. RizzaIslam.com. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Go ahead and copy 1 or 4 if you don't mind. Now, also, first people to see the episodes of my podcast before they get promoted publicly are those who are a part of our members only group, which is at joinfreethinkers.com. You see it before anybody else will see it. Everybody else publicly out here won't be able to see the episodes until roughly 48 hours later. And you get a lot of other things as well. And of course, you're supporting the work, and there's a lot of things we're doing as well. So joinfreethinkers.com. Make sure you go there. Alex Jones. Let me end with this point here. I was on Alex Jones. I was a guest on his show. Someone asked really quick about the shots. If you took it, can you detox from it? Go to the Frontline Critical Care Alliance, I believe, FLCCC. They have detoxes up their regimen, detox regimens from a whole list of doctors, medical physicians, emergency medical physicians, naturopaths, etc., that they have combined to put together. Frontline Critical Care Alliance, I believe, or FLCCC. Google that and Google detox, and you will be able to see the different protocols and all the different remedies, or at least a good assortment of them for now. Now, I was a guest on Alex Jones' podcast in person. I was there in person in his studio. I will tell you something. I will go on virtually any, and I'm talking about virtually any show that will have me on. Will I accept every invitation to every show? No. But if I am invited, many of the shows I will go on. I have no problem sitting down and speaking to anyone. White, black, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hebrew, Nawabian, Pan-African, atheists. I've sat down and had conversation with an atheist. I think you know Adam 22 from No Jumper. I've been on No Jumper recently. He calls himself an atheist. Had a conversation with him and others. But Alex Jones' interview was very critical, I would say. Because one, here's the sad part about this. When you have white people who have people on there like yourself, right? Like myself, a black man from the Nation of Islam. A black man, Nation of Islam. And certain white people are not afraid to have me on and like legit just have me be me. Alex Jones didn't tell me to change nothing. He said, I just want you to be yourself. I don't want to censor you. And he didn't. If he tried to, I would check him right there. I would. To be honest with you, I would check him. But he was very respectful. He exposed so much. And mind you, again, let's not get emotional because I don't get into this nonsense. Or Rizza, you support that? No. The facts are the facts. I've been invited onto multiple shows. And while a lot of our shows, a lot of shows where black folks are over these shows, supposedly, will try to censor me or they won't invite me on. You got all these white folks who want to invite me onto their shows. I've turned down a lot of these interviews. I'm letting y'all know. But it's very embarrassing to me that so many of our people, are afraid to have one of their own on the show. And you got some of these white folks who are not afraid at all. And I get it because a lot of these shows that have black faces on them are not owned by our people. So I know. That's why I'm not attacking them. But at the same time, I just want you to hear what I'm saying. Alex Jones had me on the show. We talked about the poison shots. We talked about depopulation. We talked about what Satan is doing. He said, hell. He said the majority of what's going on, he said, it's because of a bunch of old racist white guys. That's what Alex Jones said. Y'all need to go watch the interview that I had on the Alex Jones InfoWars when I was there in studio. As a matter of fact, I want to see if I can put it in the chat right now. I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat right now so that y'all can go watch that. But this man straight up said, yeah, the reason why is because, he said, the reason why black folks don't trust us, he said, the system of white supremacy, a bunch of old racist white guys have been out here doing all this evil stuff. He said, they hate you. They want to get rid of you. They want to depopulate you. They want to take your organs. Like this white male saying all this, right? And I'm laughing on the inside thinking, you know, it's sad because most of the shows that we have will not say this. They won't say this. And I just be laughing like, dang, stop being afraid, y'all. Stop being afraid. If you want to invite me onto your show, invite me on. And if you are too afraid to speak the truth, let me do it. And you could just say, hey, I just invited them on. Cool. That way, whoever your higher ups are, whoever your handlers are, whoever those are who sign the checks, you can at least just say, hey, that was Rizza Islam. All right. I didn't say it. Rizza Islam said that. Okay, cool. Then just put it on me then. Cool. Because they know what we are about. They know what I'm going to bring. They know this. But I'm not interested in going on so many of these white platforms before I go on my own. I'd rather go on our platforms first. Because all this information should be given to us by us, because a lot of white people have representatives who are doing this for them. They have enough of their people giving this information to one another. We need to give this information to each other. That's what we should be doing. That's something I just really wanted to say to y'all, because when I went on there, I wasn't censored at all. Not only was I not censored, the episode is still up. And we agreed on, I would say, about 98% of things. I believe 90, well, to be honest with you, about 99% of what we discussed, we agreed on. I disagree with Alex Jones on a number of things. That's a fact. Absolutely. But what we agreed on, we agreed on. I don't agree with if he said anything that was not factual. Sure, absolutely not. I don't agree with any of that stuff. You know, the reason why he got sued because of the whole shooting circumstance and all that. Hey, I don't agree with the things that he said that were not true. But that white dude got more testicles than a lot of people when it comes to exposing his own government, where a lot of our people fail to have courage. I'm very torn by this at this point. So if you want to have me on your show, go to RizzaIslam.com and click Book Rizza. Go to RizzaIslam.com and click Book Rizza if you would like to have me on your show. My assistant will look at it, we will go over it, and we will get that scheduled. Because again, I want us to stand on our own and have all this knowledge, have all this information, and have solutions so that we can activate and do something for ourselves. We should not have to wait on anyone else. We should not have to beg anybody else and do anything that we are not interested in doing. That doesn't necessarily benefit us as a people. So I appreciate y'all for coming on again. I really pray I was able to bring some perspective. This was the book here, Operation Paperclip by Annie Jacobson. Make sure you go get that. If you want to know more about the whole circumstance with the Nazis in America, who brought them over here and all of that, how they were, everything was looked past. They looked right past all the horrible stuff that was done to bring them over here to advance America in the technology. Also, you want to get The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, books 1, 2, and 3. Historical data that was compiled by the Nation of Islam research team, but that was written by Jewish historians, Jewish authors, Jewish rabbis, Jewish people. And all the footnotes pointing you in the direction of all of their books where they originally got them from is at the bottom of each page. Make sure you go get that at NOI.org. If it is sold out, I recommend you go to a Black-owned bookstore that has them. And if not, then go somewhere else to do your best to find each one of the copies. I wouldn't recommend Amazon because there's a lot of nonsense going on there. But again, if that's, just do your best to get it. All right. The Alex Jones interview is at RizzaIslam.com. I'm also going to put it in the chat here. If you go to RizzaIslam.com and you click news, you'll see a lot of different articles about some of the work that I've done. Only a few. It's new. So a lot of new articles are being uploaded right now about the work that I have done in the community, that I am doing in the community. Make sure you go and you like the articles. You leave some comments in those articles at RizzaIslam.com. Click news, look at the articles, etc. And again, it's new. So a lot of things are being updated, added, you name it, etc. Please click this video, y'all, so that this can get to more people. Subscribe to this channel. Go to rumble.com. Subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to RizzaIslam.com. If you don't mind, go to RizzaIslam.com to get your merchandise, Natural Immunity Wins, your books, etc., whatever else. And again, if you would like to book me, go to RizzaIslam.com and click Book Rizza. For those who want to be a part of the closed group, private group, where we're doing a lot of things in real life in the community, just got started, just launched. Join freethinkers.com. Join the membership. Become a member. Join freethinkers.com. I appreciate y'all. I pray Allah blesses each and every one of you to have a good night. Be peaceful. Love one another. But of course, if somebody tries to attack you, defend yourself and protect the life that Allah God has given you. Peace. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. We out of here, baby.